Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Yeah, I'm way too procrastinative. Yeah, been way too long for this video. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I have turned these two movies into one section to given the back-to-back production, the end start of the former and the latter respectively, and the original subtitles calling the two films parts. Okay, let's do this. Since Phase 1, Marvel Studios has been preparing to adapt Jim Starlin's Infinity Gauntlet comic storyline for a film. In 2014 or something, Kevin Feige said that there were some notions on where to take the third film. That October, it was announced the sequel will be a two-parter, with Part 1 releasing May 4th, 2018, and Part 2 releasing May 3rd, 2019, with the plan of filming back-to-back. Robert Downey Jr. signed onto the third Avengers film in March 2013. Josh Brolin signed a multi-picture deal the following May. On July 2014, Feige revealed multiple MCU actors were contracted to return for the third film. That September, Renner was confirmed to return for the role of Hawkeye. After the name announcements, Hemsworth, Ruffalo, Evans, Johansson, Cheadle, Bettany, Olsen, Mackie, Pratt, Clementieff, Gillen, Bautista, Saldana, Diesel, and Cooper were confirmed to return. Additional actors include Cumberbatch, Wan, Holland, Boseman, Guerrero, Wright, Duke, Stan, along with Hiddleston, Elba, Paltrow, Toro, Condon, Hurt, Jackson, and Smulders. Chadwick Boseman was set to play T'Challa, aka the Black Panther, by early November. On 24th November 2014, Sony Pictures was hacked, revealing that there were talks of introducing Spider-Man to the MCU. The deal fell through February the following year. On May 2015, Feige held screen tests for Spider-Man. Tom Holland received the role and was set to start filming his scenes in July. On July 17th, 2015, Ant-Man released, debuting Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, aka the Ant-Man, Evangeline Lilly as Hope Van Dyne, soon to be the Wasp, Michael Douglas as Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man, with the return of Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon, and Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter, Carter being in the flashback. The film follows Scott Lang training to sabotage a deal with Hydra and the Ten Rings. The post-credit scenes are clipped straight from Civil War, and there's a clip that debuts the new Wasp suit in progress. That same month, Evangeline Lilly expressed interest in Michelle Pfeiffer playing Jan Van Dyne. Eventually, that casting choice was chosen. Joss Whedon chose not to have any involvement in the Avengers sequels due to the series' expanding scale. On April 2015, Anthony and Joe Russo were set to direct both parts, and in May, Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely were set to write both parts. During the filming of Civil War, the writers read comics to get an understanding and find out where they want the story to go. By October 2015, Pom Clementieff was set to play Mantis for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. On January 2016, the two began working on drafts, two writers, with the completed first drafts being handed in on May 1st. 5 days later, Civil War released, with Evans, Downey, Stan, Olsen, Mackie, Renner, Rudd, Cheadle, Johansson, and Bettany. It introduces Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, aka Black Panther, and Tom Holland as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, and Marissa Tomei as Aunt May Parker. The film features a fallout between the Avengers due to the Sokovia Accords and the bombing at Vienna. Bucky was framed for the kill, so to stop the real bomber, Captain America teams with Bucky, making him a fugitive. Iron Man has been assigned to Brandon, Steve, and Bucky. While he figures out Bucky didn't bomb them, he later fights the two of them after discovering Bucky killed his parents. The Avengers are dissolved after the film. In the post-credit scene, T'Challa later discovers the truth and allows Bucky to be fixed of his brainwashing in Wakanda. In April 2016, Tessa Thompson was set to play Brunhilde, aka Valkyrie, for Thor Ragnarok. In June 2016, Alan Silvestri was revealed to be returning to compose for Infinity War and Endgame, recording January to March 2018 for Infinity War. By July, Stephen and Marcus were on the third Infinity War draft. Around same time, Brie Larson was cast as Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, and Danai Gurira was cast as Okoye in Black Panther. In October, Eric Pearson was flown into Atlanta to help Stephen and Marcus, who were crammed at the time. Well, crammed in quote marks. Back in July, it was announced that the first part would be called Infinity War and the second part would be called Endgame. By the end of the year, there were at least 5 to 6 drafts for each movie. Across that time, they received notes on drafts whilst coming up with new ideas. Also, the third floor pre-visualized scenes at the time. Doctor Strange released November 4th, 2016, debuting Benedict Cumberbatch as Stephen Strange, aka Doctor Strange, although he's not in the medical field anymore, so can't you really call him a doctor. Benedict Wong as Wong, Chiwetel Ejiofor as Carl Mordo, Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One, Rachel McAdams as Christine Palmer, Mads Mikkelsen as Caecilius, and Benedict Cumberbatch again as Dormammu. The film follows Stephen becoming the Sorcerer Supreme. It introduces the Time Stone. The mid-credit scene is a clip from Thor Ragnarok, and the post-credit scene foreshadows Mordo returning in the future installment. But he was supposed to return in Multiverse of Madness, but he didn't. Almost on a weekly basis, the Russos and writers met up with Phase 3 filmmakers to maintain continuity, meeting up with James Gunn, director of the Guardians of the Galaxy films, to keep the Guardians true to themselves, and with Taika Waititi to talk about the new way Thor was depicted, and Eric Pearson in focus of maintaining continuity from Thor Ragnarok. On January 23rd, 2017, principal photography began for Infinity War with an estimated budget of $325 to $400 million in the usual studio Marvel Films in Atlanta, Georgia. The script later became particleized, as Marcus described it. Each day, rehearsals with actors were done, alternate jokes were provided, the writers would return to revising the scenes on the screenplays that had not been filmed yet, as well as coordinating with the editing team, all to ensure they could reshoot while sets still existed and actors were available. The last writing for Endgame was for reshoots in January 2019. That month, Peter Dinklage, who played Bolivar Trask in X-Men Days of Future Past, entered negotiations to join the film. Also, the Children of Thanos were announced to appear, with Tom Von Lawler as Ebony Maw, Terry Notary as Cole Obsidian, Carrie Coon as Proxima Midnight, and Michael James Shaw as Corvus Glaive. Emma Thurman got cast for an older Cassie Lang for Endgame. Ross Marquand voiced Red Skull, replacing Hugo Weaving. Red Skull within the 2 Avengers movies would be fully CGI. Additional filming would occur in February 2017 in Scotland, in Edinburgh, Glasgow, and the Scottish Highlands. Studio work was at Ward Park Studios in Cumbernauld. In late June, filming occurred in downtown Atlanta, moving to Atlanta Central Park early July and New York in the final days, ending all filming on July 14th. Later that month, Joe Russo said that there were some unfinished scenes that will be shot in August. Back on May 5th, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 released, with Pratt, Saldana, Bautista, Cooper, Diesel, Rooker, Gunn, and Gillen, and introducing Pom Clemente as Mantis. The film features 5 mid/post-credit scenes, including Kraglin starting to use the Yondu's Yaka arrow, Ravager leader Takaro Gore reuniting with his teammates, who in the original comics were the original Guardians of the Galaxy, Aisha creating Adam Warlock, Groot as a teen around the time Thanos acquires the Power Stone, and a group of Watchers leaving their informant. On July 7th, 2017, Spider-Man Homecoming released, with the return of Holland, Tomei, Downey, Favreau, and Evans via video clips, Paltrow and Condon, and debuting Jacob Batalon as Ned Leeds, who makes a return in Infinity War, and Zendaya as Michelle Jones-Watson, and Michael Keaton as Adrian Toomes, aka Vulture. No, not that Vulture. This Vulture. The film follows Peter Parker after Civil War in his social/school life and his crime-fighting life, as he tries to stop the Vulture's scheme. This time the villain survives and ends up in prison. In a mid-credit scene, we think we get a hint towards the Sinister Six, but no.
And I heard a rumor. You know who he is? If I knew who he was, he'd already be dead.
In the month of July, during the filming of Tag, Jeremy Renner attempts a stunt and fails, falling 20 feet or approximately 6.1 meters, fracturing his right elbow and left wrist. Quickly soon after, filming for Endgame would begin. Yikes! The 2013 Asgard scenes were shot at the Durham Cathedral in Durham during the production of Infinity War. This was not considered principal photography for Avengers Endgame. That would begin on August 10th, 2017, with a budget of an estimated 356 to 400 million. With Downey, Hemsworth, Ruffalo, Evans, Johansson, Cumberbatch, Cheadle, Holland, Boseman, Olsen, Mackie, Stan, Hiddleston, Warren, Clementif, Gillen, Bautista, Saldana, Cooper, Paltrow, Brolin, Pratt, Wright, Renner, Lilly, Favreau, Rudd, Larson, Pfeiffer, Douglas, and Babylon set to return. That same month in Atlanta, they filmed at the Gulch near the 5 Points Marta Station and the Piedmont Park. I don't know how to pronounce it. In October 2017, Hiroyuki Sanada was set to play a minor role in Endgame as a Yakuza boss. On November 3rd, 2017, Thor Ragnarok hit theaters. Those who reprised their roles were Hemsworth, Hiddleston, Hopkins, Ruffalo, and Cumberbatch, and debuting Tessa Thompson as Brunhilde, aka the Valkyrie, and Taika Waititi as Korg. The film follows Thor, who got stranded on Sakaar trying to return to Asgard to stop Hela from conquering the Nine Realms. The film ends where Infinity War begins. Filming wrapped for Avengers Endgame on January 11th, 2018. Additional filming would occur June 2018. Between that time, two films came out, Black Panther and Infinity War, with Black Panther hitting cinemas on February 16th, 2018, with the return of Boseman, Serkis, and Stan, debuting Letitia Wright as Shuri, Danai Gurira as Okoye, Florence Kasumba as Io, Lupita Nyong'o as Nakia, and Winston Duke as M'Baku. The film follows T'Challa as the new king of Wakanda. The mid-credit scene has T'Challa revealing Wakanda's true nature at a UN conference. The post-credit scene has Bucky waking up sometime after being healed of his brainwashing. The second film, Infinity War, had its world premiere on April 23rd, 2018, hitting cinemas 4 days later, grossing, throughout its entire cinematic run, $2.048 billion. With Downey, Hemsworth, Ruffalo, Evans, Johansson, Cumberbatch, Cheadle, Holland, Boseman, Bettany, Olsen, Mackie, Stan, Hiddleston, Brolin, Wong, Clementif, Gillen, Bautista, Saldana, Diesel, Cooper, Pratt, Paltrow, Guerrero, Wright, Duke, Babylon, Jackson, Smolders, and Condon. It debuts Tom Bond Layler as Ebony Maw, Terry Notary as Cole Obsidian, Carrie Coon as Proxima Midnight, Michael James Shaw as Corvus Glaive, and Peter Dinklage as Eitri, with Ross Marquand as Johann Schmidt, aka Red Skull, replacing Hugo Weaving. The film follows Thanos on his quest to get the Infinity Stones to eliminate half of all life to save resources, as the Avengers and Guardians try to stop him because, well, casualties are casualties. The film ends with Thanos succeeding, causing the death of Bucky, T'Challa, Shuri, Wanda, Sam, Drax, Quill, Parker, Mantis, Groot, Strange, Fury, and Hill. In the post-credit scene, Fury and Hill witness the effects of the snap. So as Fury does, he sends his distress signal to Captain Marvel. Between additional filming and reshoots, Ant-Man and the Wasp released July 6, 2018, with the return of Rod, Lily, and Douglas, debuting Michelle Pfeiffer as Janet Van Dyne. The movie follows Scott Lang, caught up in a situation he'd rather not be given his house arrest. The post-credit scene takes place during the time of the snap. Scott is in the quantum realm at the time of the dusting. The dusting includes Hope, Hank, and Janet, leaving Scott stranded in the quantum realm. Reshoots for Avengers Endgame occurred from September 7th to October 12th, 2008, and January 2019. Alan Silvestri composed for Endgame from early November 2018 to late March 2019. The next film to come out after Ant-Man and the Wasp was Captain Marvel on March 8th, 2019, debuting Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, Lashana Lynch as Maria Rambeau, and Ben Mendelsohn as Talos, with the return of Jackson, Gregg, Evans, Johansson, Cheadle, and Ruffalo. The film follows Carol Danvers regaining her memories and going up against the Kree, enforced by Ronan. The post-credit scene has Carol headed to the Avengers compound, with the initial intent of looking for Fury. Avengers Endgame world premiered at the Los Angeles Convention Center on April 22, 2019, hitting cinemas 4 days later, throughout its entire cinematic run, grossing $2.798 billion, making it the second highest grossing movie of all time. It stars the return of Downey, Evans, Hemsworth, Johansson, Brenner, Ruffalo, Cheadle, Rudd, Gillian, and Cooper as the main characters, with Guerrero, Paltrow, Favreau, Wan, Thompson, Waititi, and Larson as Group 2, as I call them. They survived the snap but didn't time travel. Group 3, or the snap, includes the actors Olin, Cumberbatch, Lily, Douglas, Pfeiffer, Boseman, Olsen, Mackie, Stan, Clemente, Bautista, Diesel, Pratt, Battleon, Tomei, Jackson, Smulders, and Cardellini. Group 4, the time travel only group, includes Brolin, Saldana, Von Lawler, Notary, Kuhn, Shaw, Portman, Hiddleston, Atwell, and Marquand. The remaining bringing Brolin as the main Thanos and debuting Lexi Rabe as Morgan Stark. The film follows the Avengers 5 years after the snap, going on a time travel adventure to gather variant stones to reverse the snap. However, a variant Thanos finds out their plan and tries to restart life. The film holds the biggest battle in MCU history. There is no post-credit scene for the film. The film ends with the Avengers disbanded. Tony dead, Steve old, Thor Guardian, and Natasha dead. Well, that was the production history of all the Avengers quadrilogy. Now to move on to the canon history in the next video.